In Atzilus and higher, you say it's one with Or and Sof, one with Or and Sof, one with godliness. But Biyah is not. The experience of Bria, Yitzir, and Nasir, that we are detached from our source. We have an independent existence. That's how we feel. We feel like Kalim. Hashem, I feel like saying Shechianu, but we are back into learning Hemshech Samech Vav. Today is the 3rd of Mar Cheshvan, Tafshin Pei Daled, and we want to dedicate the shiur for the refuah shlema of all the injured in Eretz Yisrael, and the kidnapped should come back whole and safe home. Amen. Immediately, and the leaders should have the courage to finish this war, that there should not be Hamas in the Eretz anymore, that the Eretz should be purified from their presence, and all the families of those who passed away in various ways, K'doshei Yisrael, they should have Aliyas Neshama. I'm sure that they are high in Gan Eden, but their family should be consoled by Hashem, and there's no better consolation and comfort than knowing that they are coming back very soon, Neshama Beguf, V'geula Amitis V'Ashleima. So for all our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, it should be for their schus.
Amen.
And especially the Chayalim, the soldiers, in the south, in the north, wherever they are, they should be safe and victorious, and they should be able to accomplish their mission swiftly and completely, B'ezras Hashem. Officially, we are on page Kuf Samach Daled, which is the Maimar of Vayigash Elav Yehuda. But we gotta get back into the context. I think we are going to quickly learn again this from the beginning of this Maimar. But beforehand, I would encourage you to go to the back of the book. If you will be remaining with us, Rivka Miriam, I recommend for you to get the last edition of Tafresh Samach Vav, so you have everything there. And there in page Taf Shin Pei Daled, Taf Shin Pei Hey, we focused a lot in the past, after discussing the purpose of creation from the beginning of the Hemshech. We spent quite a long time talking about the Maila of Mitzvos. Let me just mute everybody. Excuse me. You can unmute yourself as you wish. The Maila of Mitzvos, that Mitzvos get us to Eden. We learned about Eden, which is the Atzmus Hashem in terms of Tainug HaPashut, Tainug HaMurkav, and there's a Tainug HaMorgash and Tainug HaBilti Morgash. Bottom line, the first discussion about mitzvahs, long discussion relatively about mitzvahs, that with mitzvahs we can connect with the essence of Hashem, which is called Eden. And then the Rebbe moved on to begin to explain how we can actually get there also through Torah. And especially the pilpul and the iyun b'Torah dafka. You see in page Tav Shin Pei Daled, these are the summaries. These are just Rashi Prakim from the whole Hemshech in the back of the book. So you see Seif Chaf Aleph on page Tav Shin Pei Daled, Seif Chaf Aleph. There we learn that צריך להבין עניין המשחס בבחינת עדן על ידי הפלפול ועיון בתורה דווקא. So now we have to understand, we understood how the mitzvahs get us there and mamshich Eden into our reality. And now we have to understand how the same thing happens, or similar, through the pilpul and the iyun, the deep study of Torah. We learn the Pnimius Abba, Pnimius Atik, if you remember. And then the Rebbe again taught us about the base madregos of Olam Haba, the two levels of the world to come, The first stage where we have the Seuda of Livyasan and Shohabar, there will be the divine meal of the wild bull, the ox, and the Livyasan, the big whale, and it will be a transformational Seuda meal. And then that's the first stage of Olam Haba, of the world to come, that is connected with the Tainug Pashut HaMurgash, which is the innate divine pleasure which is sensed. And that's why it's represented through Achila and Shtia, through eating and drinking. Then there is the second stage of Olam Haba, which is Olam Haba she'ein bo Achila u'Shtia. That's half base here in page Tafshin Pei. And we are talking about the Tainug Pashut Bilti Murgash, the pure Tainug that is not conditioned by anything, which is the essence of God, which is Bilti Murgash, which is not even sensed.
Shana.
And through Torah, we can reach this Tainug Atzmi Bilti Murgash. Look in Chaf Vav. One moment, please. Al yedei hadiuk b'milei de chuchmasa. To really being precise and deepen our mind into the words of Chochmas HaTorah. Specifically, the Rebbe says, through the toil, the personal toil, we are drawing the depth of the light of the intellect, which is called the Helem Ha'atzmi of Chochmah, the essential concealed essence of Chochmah. And through the refinement, the birurim of that which is untrue from that which is true, but doing it painstakingly, like the pilpulim in the Gemara, for instance, the person can get to shashuim ha'atzmim, to the essential pleasure of God, which is the deepest. And then we spoke about David HaMelech, who established the all of Torah, the Kabbalah's all of learning Torah. So again, the context of our discussion is how can the devotion, the intellectual devotion that involves toil, how can that connect us with the essence of God and bring this essential divine pleasure down into our soul, into our world? How is it possible? In order to understand that, the Rebbe says, we need to first understand the inyan of Neira Havaye Nishmas Adam. For those who welcome you, joined just now, I'm bringing us back into the Hemshech, the context of what we are learning. So we learned about Ner Havaya Nishmas Adam, that the neshama is compared to Eish, to fire. So it's like compared to a candle, to a flame. But it also, the mahus of the neshama, we learned is ruach. As it says, Vayipach be'apav nishmas chaim, that when Hashem created man, he blew into his nostrils nishmas chaim, a neshama of chaim. And so we see that the neshama, that the soul of a yid is made of neshama and ruach, moichin and midos, esh and ruach, fire and air and spirit. The nature of Eish is to listalek lemala, is to go back to its source and to go up to its source. Ruach can go up and can go down. As we learned already, that Ruach is like the memutza, is the intermediary between fire that goes up and water that goes down. And so too we see in the psychology of the of the soul of a human being. That the moichin, that the mind, that the intellect, which is compared to fire, is le'atzmo, is something that the person is engaged, going upward, going into, cleaving into a truth of an idea and withdrawing into himself as he is pursuing knowledge, or as he is pursuing truth, or as he is pursuing understanding. It's hala and dveikus lemaila. It's going upward. Midos already is going outward to the other, to the zulas. We learned, this is very short, I don't want to repeat the whole thing, but it took us a few months to learn, but we learned that ratzon is also called ruach, because the inyan of ratzon, of the will of the person, is amshacha v'iskashrus ledavar azulas. I'm those who want to look inside in the last edition of Tafresh Samech Vav, page Taf Shin Pei Vav in the back of the book, and soon we will go into the Maimar. I'm reading from the summaries in the back of the book, Taf Shin Pei Vav, that's the page. And this is Seif Chaf Zayin. So Ratzon, the will of a person, is also called Ruach. And the inyan of Ratzon is Amshacha v'iskashrus ledavar hazulas. The Ratzon in the Nefesh is how the Nefesh is drawn and wants to connect with someone else. We learned that without Avir, without Ruach, fire cannot burn. Fire cannot operate, cannot be lighting without air. If you put something, a dish over a candle and not making air available to the flame, the flame will be extinguished. So the Ruach, what the Ruach does to the fire, what the air does to the fire, is that it affects the fire to operate against its nature. Because the nature of fire is to go back to its source, Lamaila. It always wants to go up. And what the Ruach does, it makes it stay down and attach itself to the wick of the candle. And even when it goes up, it doesn't go up in a way of histalkus, in a way of complete removal. What does it mean in avoida? In avoida, what it means that there is a divine spark, a divine flame, a divine fire in the soul of every Jew, in a manner of rishpei esh, flames of fire, but that operates through his orerus ruach eloki shemitnotzetz baneshama. There it operates, and this will be the topic of our Maimar, that the way the fire of the spark, like the pilot fire, gets awakened to become a flame of fire, of love to Hashem, that begins through an awakening that comes from above. There is a divine awakening that causes us to wake up and causes the hiskashrus, the attachment of the ratzon, of the neshama, to its source. Because if not for that his oros that now we are looking at, it's not for that awakening, this Eish, being in this world, in an ego, in a nefesh habahamis, and in a body, and with all the challenges and the physicality and the challenges and the falsehood and the evil in this world, this spark of fire would be put out. This flame of fire would not hold on. It would be put out through the coarseness of the nefesh habahamis. Like if there's no fresh air, if you have a candle and there's like avir meupash, it's called in Lashon HaKodesh. It's like a coarse air, not fresh air. The flame will not be shining much. And so too, the coarseness of the nefesh habahamis would overcome this fire in the Jewish soul. But there is this ruach that we are exploring, this spirit, that this air, this ruach, this spirit that awakens that fire and empowers that fire. And that causes the fire to operate in a very moderate way, that when it goes up, it doesn't go mistalek completely, and then it goes down, it can be staying and be stable. There should be a רצוא ושוב, going up and going down in a very functional way. And that's how our soul operates. It constantly goes up to draw power from its source, and then it comes down to carry out the will of Hashem. So now let's go back to our Maimar, which we already began, but we'll go back to the beginning. It's from Shabbos Parashas Vayigash. We are learning Hemshech, so we have been learning relatively many Maimarim till now, like 150 pages of a few Maimarim until now. And we got to Vayigash. And in Vayigash, the Rebbe brought us back, go to page Kuf Nun Tes, the first paragraph, like 4 or 5 lines from the bottom, in the middle of the line, the neshama nimshela lener. The neshama is compared to a candle. That just as the or haner goes up and down, so too the neshama has the nature of going also aliyah, the רצוא, and also going down. So the aliyah of the neshama, the רצוא of the neshama, is the hisgalus of the light, the Rebbe says, of the ava, in a manner of rish pe'esh. The neshama gets inflamed with a desire and a thirst for Elokus. Really, a thirst to go back home. And we explained in the previous Maimar, near Hanukkah, that just as the Or HaNer, in order for the light of the flame of the candle to shine, you need ruach, you need air and avir, so too the Or HaMeir, the neshama, to be in a way of רצוא, that the light of the neshama is shining with the desire to go back to its source, זהו דווקא על ידי בחינס רוח הווה יכולו. This is specifically through this ruach, this air, the divine ruach that awakens this fire. And now the Rebbe will explain. וביאור העניין הוא, to explain it all, הנה יש להבין מאין הוא ההתעוררות בנשמה לעלות למעלה. We do need to understand, says the Rebbe, from where is this awakening? We are part of this world. We are another animal in this world. Human beings, okay, so we are one of the living beings in this world, maybe the highest. But מאין הוא ההתעוררות בנשמה, from where comes this awakening? In the soul, in the neshama, לעלות למעלה, to go up. וכמו כן, לרד למטה. So from where is this desire of the neshama, this draw to attach itself to the divine, the רצוא, and also from where does the neshama have the drive לרד למטה, to go down, meaning שתחפוץ בקיום התורה ומצוות כנ"ל. That from where does the neshama have the drive to desire to fulfill Torah and Mitzvos in this world? It is totally against the nature of this world in many ways. אי אפשר לומר שזהו So now the Rebbe is analyzing, is doing iyun in this nature of רצוא ושוב of the neshama, and from where it comes. So the Rebbe says like this, ואי אפשר לומר שזהו בהנשמה בכוח עצמה, מצד טבע כל דבר להימשך לשורשו. You might come and say, well, when you see the neshama awakened with a desire for its maker, for its source, that's because of the neshama itself. It comes from the neshama בכוח עצמה, from its own power, Why? Because it's the teva of everything to be drawn to its source. Everything is drawn to its source. Why fire wants to go up? Because its source is, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, is tachas galgal hayareach, whatever it means. The source, the spiritual source of fire, is under the orbit of the moon. That's why fire always wants to go up. Everything wants to go. If after you let go of earth in your hand, that it will fall down because its source is down. So there is a rule, a natural rule, that everything is drawn to its source. And therefore, from that you see that neshama is awakened with a desire to connect with its source. No, the Rebbe says, that is not true, because the Rebbe is can diffuse it. ואם כן, מאין יש בכוח הירידה והמשך כולו. So if you say it just comes from the nature of the neshama to go back to its source, that's why the neshama longs to go up. Then from where does the neshama have the drive to go down and to stay and do Torah and Mitzvos in this world? שעל זה אינו שייך לומר משום שטבעה להימשך למקורה. On this you cannot say that the nature of the neshama is to be drawn to its source, שזה שייך על העלייה. This you can apply to the aliyah, when the neshama wants to go up. Then you can say, oh, the neshama wants to go up because it's drawn to its source. Where are you, Miriam? I was waiting for you until now, half of the shiur. You don't have to answer. I am happy to see you. לא על הירידה והמשכה כולו. But you can say it about the ירידה והמשכה. You can say it about the neshama going down and doing Torah mitzvahs, that that's because its nature is to go down. No. ובאמת, and in truth, you cannot even apply the explanation of everything being drawn to its source in terms of the aliyah either. וגם בעלייה אי אפשר שזהו רק משום שטבעה להימשך למקורה. Even when you see the neshama wants to go up, the רצוא, you cannot say that it's just because the neshama is drawn back to its source. Why? דמה שטבע כל דבר להימשך אל מקורו, זהו דווקא כאשר מרגיש את מקורו. When you say that you watch something moving because it goes back to its source, is when something feels its source. The neshama doesn't feel its source in this world. ואם היות שיש כוח המושך בכל דבר שנמשך ממילא למקורו, כמו זרוק חוטרה לאווירה, העיקרא קאי, זה מצד הטבע בלי הרגש. You can say it's like when the Chazal say that when you take a branch and you a stick and you throw it to the air, it will fall down on its root, on its lower where it was growing from the tree. It will fall down the way it grew, without הרגש, without sensing the source. ואין זה עניין המשך ורצוא, אבל להיות בבחינת רצוא להיכלל במקורו, זהו דווקא כאשר מרגיש את מקורו. This is a natural, yes, you have a natural phenomenon like this, but when you have the inyan of המשכה ורצוא, the branch doesn't have an המשכה and רצוא. The soul has an המשכה and רצוא. It has a revealed yearning to go back to its source. זהו דווקא כאשר מרגיש את מקורו. This is when something feels its source, then it has a desire to unite with it. וכמו באור למעלה, שטבע האור להיכלל במקורו. It's like אור למעלה, even אור גשמי. But אור למעלה, what's the teva of אור, the spiritual light as well? What's the teva of light? The teva of light that it always is attached to its source. It always yearns to be included in its source. Why? זהו לפי שהוא דבוק במקורו. Because light, let's say a ray of light, it is always attached to its source. הוא מרגיש מקורו. And it feels its source. That's why it wouldn't separate from it. It knows that it can only exist when it is attached to it. לזוז טבע זו להימשך ולהיכלל כולו. That's why light has the nature to go up and to be unite with its source and merge into its source. אבל כאשר אינו נרגש המקור, but when you have a situation when the source is not felt and not sensed, כמו בנבראים, like in our worlds, the worlds of נבראים, created beings. Created beings are created יש מאין. יש מאין means that all beings in בריאה, יצירה, עשייה, and certainly in עשייה הגשמי, where we are, do not feel, they are created in such a way that they do not feel their source. יש מאין. שהגם שהם next page, קוף סמך, גם כן הערה מהאור האלוקי, even though all created beings in ביאה, including our world, are הערה, are a radiance from a divine light, כמו שכתוב בספר של בינונים חלק בייס, as it says in שער הייחוד והאמונה, פרק ג', that all the נבראים are דבר השם, are the אור אלוקי, the divine light that creates them, מכל מקום הרי אין בהם המשכה להיכלל למעלה. Nevertheless, we don't feel it. The נבראים don't feel it. And they do not have the draw and the pull and the drive to be included in the above. The nature of the created beings is the opposite. ואדרבה, רוח הבהמה יורדת חולו. The spirit of an animal goes down. You don't see a bunch of animals, of cows, look up to Shamayim. They look down. That's the nature of neshamos of behemoths, neshama of behemoths, neshamos of biyah, of bria, yetzira, and asiya. And it's like the Rebbe says, ukmo klalus hahefresh ben oros vekelim. Generally, really, it's like the difference between lights and vessels. The teva ha'or la'alos lemala. The nature of light is to go up to its source. וטבע הכלים לירד למטה. And the nature of vessels is to go down. וידוע, דזהו לפי שהאור דבוק במקורו, והכלים אינם בבחינס דבקוס. Why or wants to go up and kelim want to go down? Because or is attached, davuk, to its source, and kelim, vessels, are not in bchinas, in the manner of dveikus. Vessels are not attached to their source. Velazos, and therefore, teva ha-kelim davka lired lemata. The nature of kelim is to go down to more to the yesh, more to the metzius, more to feel independent from the source. וכמו כן בנבראים בכלל, so too is in the creations generally. מפני שאינם דבוקים במקורם ואינו נרגש בהם המקור. Because we are all not attached to our source. And our source is not felt, not sensed. אין טבעם לעלות למעלה. Therefore, all the נבראים, all the created beings, really their nature is not to ascend. Their nature is to descend. כמו כן הנשמה, כמו שירדה למטה. And so too, so again, all the נבראים, which means בריאה, יצירה, עשייה, and especially עשייה הגשמיס, the physical נבראים, they are more associated with kelim. And Atzilus and up is more associated with Oros, with light. And so too the Neshama. Therefore, in Atzilus and higher, you say it's one with Or and Sof, one with Or and Sof, one with godliness. But Biyah is not. The experience of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, that we are detached from our source. We have an independent existence. That's how we feel. We feel like Kelim. And so too, yes, our neshama is part of God, very nice. But the way the neshama came down in the body, וכן הנשמה כמו שירדה למטה, when the soul comes down to our world, in a body, in the physical world, הרי נתרחקה מאוד ממקורה. The neshama is very far from its source in this position. וכידוע בעניין נשמה שנשאת בי טהורה היא, אתה ואתה חולו. Yes, as we say every morning, the neshama originally tahora, tehiru ilah. Tehiru is or and sof, it's atzilus and higher. Neshama is pure, neshama is godly. But ata ve'ata, ata etzata, ata nefachta bi. You brought it down from bria to yetzira to asiya, and then you blew it into my physical body. Oh yes, the neshama b'shosha tehorai. The neshama in its source is pure, is infinite, is divine. והיינו כמו שהיא באצילוס ולמעלה מאצילוס, בבחינת טהירו אילה. That's the way the neshama is in atzilus and even higher than atzilus, in טהירו אילה, אור אין סוף. Even before the tzimtzum. ושם היא באמש בתכליס הדבקוס והייחוד באלוקוס. And there, where the neshama is in her, or in its source, of course, it's in the utmost attachment and unification with godliness. וכמאמר, as we say in our davening in the Hoshanos, chavuka udvuka bach, that the neshama is hugged, embraced, and attached to you, to God Himself. שהיא מיוחדת ודבוקה ממש באלוקוס חולו. That in her source, the neshama, the soul, is mamash one with and attached with godliness, to godliness. והגם דאיתא באיגרס הקודש דיבור המסחיל איהו וחיו אחד, דהנשמוס גם כמו שהן באצילוס, כבר יצאו ונפרדו מהכלים. Even though it says, I'm not going to go into that now, but even though it says in Igeras HaKodesh that even in Atzilus, the Neshamas are already considered like they came out and separate from the Kelim, because Atzilus is also Oros and Kelim, so the Dagesh, the emphasis on the Kelim, Zeu b'ishavus ha-neshamos shnitavu liyos b'mitzius b'fnei atzmam. This is the way Atzilus prepared the Neshamos to become a mitzius by themselves, not attached to godliness. When they go down after Malchus Atzilus, they will go down to Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, and will be individual neshamas, b'mitzius. אבל מכל מקום, nevertheless, in its source, the neshama is dvuka or miyuchedes. The neshama is attached to and one with godliness. כמו הבן שמקושר בעצם באביו. It's like a son. Yes, you can say that in Atzilus versus before the Tzimtzum or higher than Atzilus, there is already a son that's separate from the father. But the connection is innate. It's a connection of a son to his father. It's an essential connection. It's not a made-up connection. It's an essential connection. The way a child feels to his parent, it's an essential connection. And that's why the neshama in Atzilus as well is chavuka or dvuka bach, is entangled with and unified with godliness. And also, you have to understand that the neshama itself has different levels, says Hashem, says the Rebbe. וגם צריך להבין שיש בזה חילוקים במדרגות הנשמה. There are different divisions in the levels of the neshama, שיש בה בחינת נרן חי. The neshama has a nefesh that is more connected with the operation of the body. The neshama has a ruach with more connection with the midos of the person, with the emotions. There is a neshama which is connected with the intellect of the person, of the mind. There is the chaya which is connected with the ratzon, and so on. And yechida, mesiras nefesh, emuna, all these things. The different aspects of the neshama. הנה מה שחבוקה או מיוחדת תמיד, זהו בחינת יחידה שבה. So that which the neshama is, you can say, well, the neshama in its source, in its essence, is always chavuka or dvuka, is always attached to and one with godliness. Well, that's just the yechida. Let's skip right now the parentheses. אבל במדרגה שלמטה מזה, הנה דווקא בזמנים דעת רצון. But in the madregas of the neshama lower than that, the yechida, then it's not all the time that we are aware of this attachment to godliness. It's only בזמנים, specifically בזמנים that עץ רצון, there are unique, auspicious times, שמאיר האור מלמעלה, when the light comes from above, אז הן בבחינת דבקות והשכללות במקורן. When there is a light shining from above, then the neshamas of Klal Yisrael are in a state of attachment and inclusion in their source. אך הנה כמו שירדה למטה, but the way the neshama came down to this reality, to this world, ועל זה אמר, about that, we say it every morning, אתה ואתה, אתה יצרת, כולו, שנעשש בבחינס בריאה יש מאין. The neshama becomes like all the נבראים, יש מאין שאינה בבחינס דבקות במקורה. The neshama in the body is not in the state of attachment to its source. Now it feels like an individual being. ואם היות דעניין יש מאין דנשמה אינו כמו יש מאין דכללוס הנבראים, כידוע מבואר במקום אחר. This also we will let go of. But there is a difference here, the Rebbe says, there is a difference between the yesh me'ayin of the neshama and the yesh me'ayin of all other nivraim. All other nivraim are created yesh me'ayin in a manner that there is a lakus, and then yesh me'ayin, a nivra came to be, a creation came to be. But neshama, Chassidus explains, is not like that. It's a lakus shenasa nivra. It's a lakus that became a creation. Not that the creation came out of a lakus, but a lakus that took a form of creation. Okay, there is a difference, but that's not the point. The point is, mikol makom, nevertheless, harei hi bibchinas yesh. When the neshama is in the created world, and especially in the guf, in the physical world, the neshama is in a manner of yesh. It feels itself separate from its source. To the extent that it can actually invest itself in a separate individual body and in a nefesh habahamis and have its own ego. This is what it means when it says in Parashas that Hashem blew the soul into, and we say it in davening, that you blew the soul into me, into my ego and into my body. שבוודאי כמו שהיא למטה, אינו נרגש במקורה, ליוס בה משום זה המשכנו והרצוי. That's so too, surely the way the neshama is down here, you cannot say because its nature is the nature to go back, it doesn't feel it. It doesn't sense its source. And therefore you cannot say that because it wants to go back to its source, there is hamshacha and ratzah to its source. No, it doesn't feel it. It feels separate. It feels like an individual being. Because down here the neshama is very far from its source in terms of its consciousness, what it is aware of. ואם כל זה נאמר שנרגש במקורה. So, in spite of all this, we'll say that the makor is felt, it doesn't work here. וזוהי סיבת הרצוא שלה שנמשכת לשורשה. And if you say that this is the reason, because it is by nature is drawn to its source, אם כן מפני מהו לפרקים. And if this is the case, why is it sometimes only? Why it's not all the time that we are inspired to be cleaving and merge with our source? והיה צריך להיות ברצוא בתמידוס. If that were the case, that because of the nature, then it would be constant. ואם כן בהכרח לומר שאין זה מטעם הנ"ל. So you have to say it's not so simple. It's not this natural rule that everything is drawn, anything is going lemaila, because in this case lemaila, because everything wants to go back to its source. This is not felt as the neshama is invested in the body. So now the Rebbe will explain. The bottom paragraph, page Kuf Sama. The idea is like this. The sibas is oirus haratzov vashov shebaneshama. I'm going a little bit faster because we learned it already. Soon we are catching up. The sibas is oirus haratzov vashov shebaneshama hu The real reason of this רצוא ושוב, רצוא means when neshama wants to leave its own identity, to leave the body and to merge into the divine. That's the רצוא. And the shov is the neshama wants to stay here and do Torah and Mitzvos in this physical world with the body, with the ego, and work with the body, with the ego, with the world. The reason why it is awakened with this רצוא ושוב, הוא על ידי הכוח האלוקי המאיר על הנשמה מלמעלה. That happens through a divine force, a divine power, a divine energy that shines upon the soul from above. וכמו שנאמר לאהרון בהדלקת הנרות אל מול פני המנורה, יאירו שבעת הנרות הולו. As it was said to Aaron regarding lighting the neros, the candles over the menorah, of the candelabra in the Mishkan, that he should stand el mul pnei ha-menorah, that it will be el mul facing the face of the menorah, ya'iru shivas hanerot. There should shine and light 7 candles. I just want to preface and say in 2 sentences maybe, that what the Rebbe is going to say is that really the reason why we are awakened with Ratzah and with Shuv is because of this awakening from above. And the Rebbe will explain it. But then we will have a question. So if this is the case, that all our inspirations, whether it is the inspiration to leave our limited existence and to unite with our source, or we get inspired to stay and maintain our existence and bring godliness into this world and into our body and into our soul, nefesh bahamis, if it is all done as a result of a divine power that arouses us and pushes us, so where is the whole thing of avodah b'koach atzmo? Where is the whole thing of our own avodah that makes a difference? Our own choice, our own avodah, our own toil. And especially as Chabad. Chabad is b'koach atzmo. Chabad is not just to attach yourself to a tzaddik. You have to do your own work with your own mind, with your own choice, with your own consciousness. The Rebbe will explain that this is Oerus Melamaila is only this Oerus, is only an awakening. If you don't do something with it, you don't work with it, it goes away very quickly. So that will be basically the Avodah b'koach atzmo. There's still a lot for us to do after this awakening. And if we don't, we lose it. That's basically what the Rebbe will say in the next few paragraphs. So let's learn another few minutes. Now, so the reason of this Oerus of Ratzah v'Shov is not just some nature of the soul, rather the al yedei koach ha'eloki ha'me'ir al ha'neshama melamayla. It is through a divine power that shines over the soul from above. The Zayin Neros Yadua Shehen Neshamos Israel. The 7 candles, it's known that they represent the 7 kinds of Jewish souls. V'zeh inyan alas haneros. This is the inyan of lighting the candles by Aaron, the menorah in the Mishkan, in the temple. Mashe Aaron Kahana Rabba, which is Aaron HaKohen, the high priest, ממשיך בהם בחינת אהבה רבה להיות בבחינת רצוי. What was the lighting of the high priest of the menorah in the temple is to draw into the 7 kinds of Jewish neshamas to light them up, to touch them with this Ahava Rabba, with this unconditional, this great love to Hashem, meaning to awaken them to be in a tnuah, in a movement of ratzoi, of going up, of inspired to unite with their source. Bitul, and love to Hashem. וכוח העלה הזאת היא אל מול פני המנורה. What is the power to uplift the souls like this, to light the candles, which means to awaken the Neshamos Israel? Where is the power coming from? That's mul pnei ha-menorah. What is pnei ha-menorah? שזהו בחינת פנימיוס ועצמוס אור אין סוף. That's the innermost, the essence of the divine infinite. So mul pnei menorah, the face of the menorah, was really the manifestation of Or Ein Sof. How from Or Ein Sof you can draw inspiration and energy and force to be ignited, to be awakened with a yearning of Ratzah, to come close to your source. ובדרך כלל היינו בחינת פנימיוס המלכוס. Generally, you can say it's Pnimius HaMalchus, from where all the Neshamos get their life. You can say it Malchus of Atzilus goes all the way to Malchus of Ein Sof as well. But here you can say, to make it simple, Malchus of Atzilus, B'chinas Knesset Yisrael. What does it mean, Malchus? Malchus of Atzilus is the collective Jewish soul. Knesset Yisrael, from where all the neshamos of Yidden come. Shorosh, next page, Kuf Samech Aleph on top. Shorosh umakor hapnimi de neshamos Yisrael. So the face of the menorah is really the root, the inner source of neshamos Yisrael, Malchus of Atzilus, that represents Or Ein Sof. Umisham nimshach lehair es haneros de neshamos Yisrael, and from there it's brought down when the Kohen Gadol was lighting the menorah to shine the neros, the candles of the Neshamas Israel, liyos bivchinas ratzoi de avara b'chulo, to be now in a state of ratzoi, wanting, desire to go up in a great love to Hashem. Ukmochen misham, and also from there, from the same source of divinity of Or Ein Sof, nimshach liyot b'chinas hashuv. It's coming also, it's like a divine breath, in and out, Ratzov Vashov. It's like the pulsation of the heart, the breathing, inhale, exhale. So when there is a Ratzor, there is an inhale, divine inhale, all the neshamos go up, and when there is an exhale, there is a shuv. Then from there is a power to stay in the world and to bring a lokus into the world, to do Torah and Mitzvos in this world. Give me another 5 minutes. והעניין הוא, and the idea is like this, והנה ידוע שהחיוס ואור האלוקי בכללוס הנבראים נמשך בבחינת רצו ושוב בעלייה וירידה דווקא. So let's, as I just said, let's make it more general. בכלל, says the Rebbe, you should know that the vitality and the life force that operates in creation is brought down into creation in the pattern of Ratzov Vashov. The whole divine energy that operates in creation operates in a manner of Ratzov Vashov, a back and forth, going to the source, withdrawing and coming out. Withdrawing and coming out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. והחיות, זה שכתוב, as it says, in Yecheskel, when Yecheskel describes the chariot, the prophet Yecheskel, and he describes the different spiritual animals of the chariot in the world of Yecheskel was the vision of Yetzirah. Yeshayahu was the vision of Bria, the Merkava of Bria. Yecheskel also saw the Merkava, which means the origin of all beings in this world, the spiritual origin. He saw it on the level of Yetzirah. It doesn't matter. When he describes the Chayot HaKodesh, the holy animals that carry the Merkava, the chariot, he says that the Chayot Ratzov Vashov, they are moving in a manner of back and forth. And Chayos means animals. He saw the face of the lion and the ox and the eagle. Okay? But it says that Chayos is also the same letters of Chayus, which means vitality, energy. So the Chayus, the way the Yecheskel describes, is they are moving in a manner of Ratzov Vashov, back and forth. דקאי גם על החיוס האלוקי שמחיה כל הנבראים וכל העולמות מאין ליש. It refers to, it applies to the entire divine life force that enlivens and animates all the Nivraim and all the worlds from Ain to Yesh, שהוא בבחינס רצוא ושוב. So the entire divine vitality that creates and animates the worlds and all their beings, creations, operates in a manner of up and down, רצוא ושוב. וכמו שכתוב, כי הוויה אלוקיך אש אוכלה. As it says in Vayigash that Havaya, your God, is a consuming fire. כמו האש שעולה ויורד תמיד חולו. Like fire that ascends and descends constantly. אלא מלמעלה למטה הוא עניין מתי ולא מתי חולו. But there's a difference if you're looking from down up or from up down. If you're looking from down up, you say רצוא ושוב. That means when we are drawn to Elokus and we are coming back to the world to do His will. But if you're looking from milemala lemata, it will be called mati velo mati, which means if you look at Or and Sof itself, there is mati, which means when Or and Sof extends itself, and Elokus extends itself into the other, into outside, into getting ready to reveal or to interact. And lo mati means goes back. It's like breathing. Goes back to the source. Mati velo mati, it's called in Kabbalah. Leaning out, leaning away, and coming back. Leaning away and coming back. Mati velo mati. Leaning and unleaning. Leaning and unleaning. So זה אלא מלמעלה למטה, that's the Rashi tables, from up down, הוא עניין מתי ולא מתי חולו. That's how the divine energy operates. מתי ולא מתי. ובחינס כוח הפועל דאור וחיוס האלוקי, עושה בנפעל שיהיה כמוהו גם כן בבחינס רצוא ושוב. And the creative power of the divine light and energy, what it does to the creations is the same thing. That they should operate like it. That when it creates the worlds and their creations, they should operate in the same manner, also in the manner of רצוא ושוב. That's why you see the pulsation of our heart. Heart operates like this, babam, babam, רצוא ושוב, רצוא ושוב, רצוא ושוב, and our breathing operates like this. וזה שכתוב, והחיוס רצוא ושוב, בחיוס ושרפים דבריאה ויצירה, שעבודתם ברצוא ושוב. So this is also applies to והחיוס, which means the divine animals, the angels. They are also operating in the manner of רצוא ושוב. That's how they serve Hashem. In Bria, in Yetzira, they go up and they go down. They go up to be included in Elokus because they are yearning to be subsumed in Elokus, and they also go down in carrying their missions, whatever Hashem wants. Malachim are messengers. Ad gam, so all the Malachim operate, all the spiritual beings operate in the same manner of רצוא ושוב. Ad gam tzva shamayim de'asiya, all the way down to the celestial bodies in our world, שאומרים שירה ברצוא ושוב דווקא. That they say shira, all the celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the planets, the stars, they are in a manner of רצוא ושוב, כמאמר, כל בעלי השיר יוצאים בשיר ונמשכים בשיר. All the masters of song are coming out in song and are being drawn in song. שזה עניין השירה דמלאכים עליונים וצבא השמיים. There is a divine song that the supreme angels sing that represents this רצוא ושוב, and there is also צבא השמיים. All the bodies, the celestial bodies of the shamayim. וכמו צבא השמיים לך משתחווים. As we say in Navi Nehemiah says, that the host of the heaven, to you they bow down. How is it done? שהוא ברצוא ושוב דווקא. We see the circular movement of all the celestial bodies. They are moving in a way of רצוא ושוב, the circle, back and forth, למעלה למטה, למעלה למטה, like a circle. כמו שכתוב במקום אחר, גם באופנים וגלגלים, they are the אופנים, they are the angels of the world of Asiya, the Asiya Ruchni, they are called Ofanim, wheels. Ofan is a wheel. And Galgalim, orbits, everything of all the planets and so on, they operate in orbits. Everything is in a way of Galgal. of a wheel, of a circle. Inyan sibuvam hu inyan רצוא ושוב. And their circulation is the inyan of רצוא ושוב. ועיין מה שכתוב בדיבור המסחי לאומס המסגרת רס"ה. Look in ס"ה, they also מאמר of the Rebbe Rashab. זהו הכל מכוח ושפע אור האלוקי. And by the way, this is also, the malachim, we always, a common way to compare malachim is to birds. They have wings. Malachim have wings. Angels, we draw angels, we have wings. Wings, birds are doing the same thing. They also have the wings that have רצוא ושוב, רצוא ושוב. That's how the word ascends. That's how the bird ascends. And that's how it moves itself. And so too the fish in the ocean. Everything operates like this. רצוא ושוב, רצוא ושוב. This is from the koach and shefa of the divine light upon them, שהוא בבחינת the same way רצון ושוב, עולה ויורד, ascends and descends. לכך, and therefore, יימצא בהם בחינת הרצוא ושוב. You will find that in all the beings, whether the spiritual beings or the physical beings, you can find in them the energy of רצוא ושוב, of back and forth, שהוא עניין הביטול והעלייה למעלה. What does it mean really? It means the bitul of oneself and ascending to the above, to be included and lose its own separate metzias and be included in its source. And וגם בחינת הירידה והמשכה למטה. And also there is the opposite. There is a drive to come down and bring it all down to our reality, not to lose our metzius, rather to work with our metzius and transform it. Okay, I guess we'll stop here. The Rebbe will speak more about how it operates in our soul and how it creates this is oirus in avodas Hashem and in our consciousness as Yidden, as human beings first and as Yidden especially.